This week we got Todd Keirstead. So Todd is the founder of Paragolf Canada. Man, Todd has done a lot in the golf community, a ton in the golf community. He's the founder of Paragolf Canada. He is like a celebrity golf entertainer. He's a golf professional, teacher, teaches out of Uptown Golf, which is where we're headed right now. Todd and I do a lot out of Uptown, which is great. Special thanks again to the team at Uptown. They're always willing to let us use the space to do these live pods, which is awesome. Todd's been all over the world, teaching golf, instructing golf, and like entertaining people in the golf space, which will be really neat. So another thing that Todd has conquered is skin cancer recently. So he's become an advocate. He's a good, strong voice in the community, in the golf community, and it's something that I think is overlooked. And he's kind of sharing his story, as I'm sure it's touched you if you're listening or watching this pod, as I'm sure cancer has touched you or affected you in your life. It has affected me as well, and our friend Todd here. So Todd, it's kind of met it face on, head on, no pun intended. Just a really, really strong and great advocate for the sport in general. So we'll get into this one down at Uptown Golf in Oshawa. Returning guest Todd Keirstead.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting. This is exciting.
It's cool. We're at Uptown Golf in Oshawa, so
got the simulator in the background. We got my mug in the background.
We got Todd on the banner, which is awesome. So Todd does some instruction here. So I have my notes written down on my phone in my pocket, but I'll give you a little intro and then feel free to jump in and correct
me. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Todd's a PGA of Canada instructor.
Yep.
Okay. Teaches out here at Uptown, which is awesome, and a celebrity golf entertainer. You've been on every social media platform or news network, including TMZ. That's
4 times TMZ, and hold on, not in a scandalous fashion. Let's just get that straightened out.
Just for golf fun?
Yeah.
Okay, love that. Founder of Paragolf Canada. Still involved with Paragolf?
Absolutely.
Okay. And a cancer survivor.
Yes, brand new.
Brand new. So, if you're listening to this pod, I think I said it in the intro when we were driving in, cancer's affected all of us. It's been as close as my mom recently in my life, which is, we were talking with Mark last week. It's affecting him. It's just something that's affected everybody. So, Todd, as we kick this one off, I appreciate you kind of being a voice for all of us golfers who are between 20 and probably 100, 150 rounds out in the sun, maybe not taking care of us as well as we should. So I appreciate you doing that for us, sir.
You know what? It's something that, I grew up, the sun, I loved it. I followed it, man.
Yeah.
And to me, a sunburn or color was a badge of honor to how great the weekend was.
Yeah.
And if I did apply anything, it was to enhance the sun. And, out on the golf course, I applied sunscreen based on convenience and if I remembered.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that was a religious practice to me. Very rarely wore a hat because I didn't want the Stuart Sink hat tan line or,
oh boy.
With the shaved head going on. It looks like you got a white beanie on right there. I have to
edit these things, and I'm not the best editor in the world by any means, but
yeah, you got to throw that picture up.
I need Stuart Sink's I just need the mug, the dome, the top of it, just the white dome on top.
Yeah. So that's why I never really wore a hat either. Yeah. I applied a lot of sunscreen in the later days, but I probably sealed my fate by the time I was 30, and something grew on my nose, and I looked at it as a blemish. it didn't stop me from what I was doing. Then, you know, it was getting a little bit worse. Then I finally went and got it checked out. Realized I had something called basal cell carcinoma, which is the mildest form of cancer, of skin cancer. But the procedure, they ended up 4 rounds of something called Moss surgery, which is where they literally cut the cancer out of my nose, left a small divot-sized hole in my nose. They took the template from my nose, put it on my forehead. Then they cut my forehead and actually peeled it down and inverted it 180 degrees and sewn it to my nose. So what you're seeing right now, my nose used to be my forehead.
Jeez,
so it's kind of crazy. And this was the mildest form of skin cancer. You know, you've got squamous cell carcinoma and you have a deadly form, which is called melanoma.
Yeah, my mom unfortunately has had melanoma, so she's in remission. She's just like complete nails. So she's had breast cancer, melanoma. She's had a heart attack, everything. So like she's just like
she's
tough
as nails, right
she's
there,
awesome,
man.
Yeah. So, but same thing. So when she had breast cancer, they removed back in the day, removed lymph nodes, same type of thing. Had a large hole there, right? So, and then in her back, same thing, right? So, luckily, you guys are here with us, and it's something for us to learn from, because I know so many times I'm like down there and I have like a hard time. You know, I'm on the second hole, third hole, and I remember to kind of go back and reapply, right? So, guys, we're just doing a little podcast here, super organic. Feel free to make as much noise as you guys want, all right? Don't worry about us at all. Don't worry about us at all. Thank you, though. If you need anything or you need us to be quiet, just yell at us, tell us to be quiet. But this is Todd. He's the guy in the
Great
banner.
to meet you.
As
Yeah, I'll
guys
holler
come in,
4 if I see one going right or left, okay? Okay.
No problem. No problem. We're here for it. But so, Todd, can you did I miss anything in our intro there?
No, you know what?
Okay,
That you nailed it, man. Congratulations.
Okay.
That's not quite the Tiger Woods one where Phil Mickelson cut him off.
Yeah. You know, we started off by saying you're doing a little bit of work here at Uptown, and you're at some of the other facilities kind of like this. So we're at Uptown Golf in Oshawa, which is amazing. So thanks to the staff here for letting us use the space. We're, again, right in one of the bays. I think we were in that one last time. So it's really great. So you do a little bit of teaching here as well?
Yeah, you know what? I look at it, you know, these indoor facilities are phenomenal. The numbers that we're able to get with the technology that's there, it makes the learning curve and the teaching so much easier. As well, you know, years ago, it was you put your golf clubs away in October and you peeled them out again, you know, when the Masters rolled around. Everybody kind of got the itch, where now these are, you know, there's no point at keeping them away. Let's keep the rust off. Let's get playing. But I look at it, our golf season's short enough as it is.
Yeah.
You know, and people take lessons, you know, May, June, and July, and the season's already half done. Why not grind it out in the wintertime with some instruction so you can just go out and play in the summertime? So, you know, these indoor facilities are cool, and it's really helping the game out a lot.
Well, it keeps like the game going and stuff too, right? So I know for so many of us, like you mentioned, we kind of put it away. The Masters comes around, especially like when I really got into golf was when Mike Weir won the Masters, and that's kind of like we talk about it. That's sort of that weekend. Everybody starts to kind of swing a club, and then, you know.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, we're all injured because we haven't worked through the, you know, or we haven't had enough swing oil or whatever it is. So that's what we were saying. Our friend Todd is across in the other bay here, and we were saying, like, what are you working on today? Like, is there something that you're trying to do? And these are great spots to just come in. It can be 2 a.m. and you can come in here. I hit balls here at a couple hours while everybody slept on Christmas Day. That I came in and hit a couple balls here, which was awesome. So
exactly. You know, we didn't have that years ago. You know, you'd have to go down south. Right? Or you go to the Dome, where, you know, even the Dome is great because you're keeping the rust up, but you're not getting the numbers.
Yeah.
We're now in here, you know, you're getting spin rate, you're getting launch angle, you're getting attack angle, you know, and it's educating the individual. If they get knowledgeable with those numbers, they can really self-improve.
So is it any different you obviously teach outside as well.
Yeah.
So is it any different when you're in here? Like, obviously there's that instant or instantaneous feedback that you're getting as it hits the mat, but is there any difference when you're instructing a golfer indoors versus outdoors?
Yeah, there is. Well, the feedback, the data, you can't. It's black and white. It's data, and it's instant data. Where on the driving range, you're looking at, okay, there's the target 150 yards out, and okay, the ball went right, left, short, long, high, low. Oh, it didn't feel good. Now we can understand why.
Right.
We can take this data, and again, it's educating the individual to say, okay, this is what the numbers mean. This is where you're at now. Now, to get better, let's get these numbers either lower or higher or whatever the individual is doing. So it's giving the student, the individual, the tools to get better on their own. So, it takes the onus off the instructor. It's not just relying on my eyes. We're backing it up with data, and that makes it really cool.
Well, and that's happening so much more in the game. Almost, I'm kind of smiling here because it's almost to a fault at times. Like we've seen, like a lot of the Bryson theories get
absolutely
so exaggerated and so out of control. And but you're right, the data is right there. And if you're hitting like a push fade or a slice or whatever it is, or a trap hook in the ball, you can kind of like figure out why, and you can give that feedback and make those adjustments right away. Whereas I know a lot of people might have different quirks in their game and in their swing, but when you're hitting it, 200 yards to a target, like you said, you can kind of like manipulate it a little bit to hide some of those things when you're outside, right? Yep. So where you might be really good, but if you're, say, getting to the point where you're a 5 or something and you want to get down to scratch or you want to get lower and lower and lower, the numbers are inevitable now. Like I remember speaking with Ryan Hawley. I'm not sure if you know Ryan Hawley. So, but man, like even just kind of having those conversations about how incredible it is to use that data to be able to put that into our games. It's taking us to another level.
You can go down a rabbit hole.
You can.
You can go down the rabbit hole, but it's so good, even just having the basic numbers.
And that's why these facilities are so great, right?
Absolutely.
So if we can kind of transition into the Paragolf Canada.
Yeah.
So how are things going there? That was kind of the basis for our first chat, you and I, when we first met Todd. So how are things going there?
Things are going good. There's a lot of stuff happening in the adaptive golf world. I know the USGA just announced they have a huge national open down there.
Yeah.
And they actually just announced that they're having qualifiers to get into it.
Love that.
Which is really cool because it was more of a, you had to do a selection process to get into it, where now people are actually playing, competing, and it's going to be more of a competition rather than, whoever just signed up can play kind of thing. And they have the numbers down there, but they're traveling from all over the world to go to this. The inaugural one was in Pinehurst, which is not a bad facility to be hosting an adaptive golf. Not a bad facility just to play.
Right.
But having an adaptive golf championship there was pretty cool. The one in Canada this year, it's going to be the Canadian National Championship is in Timber Ridge, which is just down the road, just down the 401 here on just before you get into Trenton, Belleville area.
Yeah, it's like Grafton, I think.
Yeah, great golf course in Grafton.
Yeah. Greens are so tough.
Yeah.
They do not, like I'm at Port Hope, and that's kind of the thing is we have that conversation about how we have two of the hardest sets of greens like in the country. Yeah. Timber Ridge and at Port Hope.
So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be tricky. Yeah, but it's going to be, it gives a great test for golfers. It's growing, and the thing about it is people are realizing that they're not alone out there, whether it's an individual that has recently acquired a stroke, whether it's an amputation, whether it's a mental illness, a wounded veteran that is struggling with some internal demons. Golf is giving them a purpose again, and it's kind of cool to get that message out there.
So I know we had touched on it before, but if if you're new to the podcast, it's been probably 150 or so episodes since we've chatted, Todd, but is it how do you break down the playing field for different golfers in the adaptive golf space?
So what we do is I have a classification process where it's, we're classifying golfers based on their physical situations, whether it be, a limb deficiency, which would be your leg amputee or arm amputee. We have shortened stature. We have seated golfers, people that are playing out of a wheelchair. We have neurological conditions, which is a big one, which, that's your stroke, your MS, your Parkinson's disease. Then I was heavily involved with the Invictus Games back in 2016, which was the Prince Harry Wounded Veteran event that rolled into Toronto in 2017. We had 550 athletes from 17 countries, and so I have a really, I try and help out the military as much as possible. So we have a military first responders division as well too. So we break it down by classifications based on what the individual's physical situation is, and then we try and pair them up by their handicap index just to create a fair playing field, because you play in a national championship where there's no classifications, and you take somebody that's, say, a lower leg amputee competing against a blind golfer. It's not a fair playing field, and the individual that's blind or in a wheelchair playing around the golf is not, you can't expect them to compete against somebody that has a lower leg amputee that can bomb a ball 300 yards.
Yeah, and it's I always go back to like our friend, he's been on the podcast before, Jesse Florkowski, and I know he's been the
one-arm
world champ
golfer,
one-arm golfer times or something.
From Alberta, he set the world long drive record for one arm at like 336, and just an incredible golfer. So you take a look at that as Jesse going up against somebody that is in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
it's not a fair playing field. So you got to have some kind of classifications to make it competitive for these individuals.
And so with the USGA, the standards that they've implemented now, obviously they actually have a national open now, like you said. So the same type of thing is happening throughout North America, throughout the rest of the world now?
It's happening. U.S. has taken the first. I think the U.S. is the first qualifier. Again, it's just finding the golfers, especially in the Canadian. We're getting 40 golfers, 50 golfers. So, we're not filling a full field, but we're getting the golfers out there and getting the message out there, and that's what it's all about. Yeah,
and it's one of those things too. I guess it would be. I can't speak to it at all, but I know Jesse, when I had that conversation with him, it's like, it's kind of difficult to put yourself out there if you've, say, gone through something and you might love the game and now it's different for you. Like the game is not the same as what it used to be, but you still have that competitive drive. You still want to be able to play like on a national level or compete,
the hardest thing is and it's the same with anybody. It's the ego. We're getting older. We're not hitting the ball as far. It's the same thing. Somebody who let's say is involved in a car accident and they think the game is ripped away from them. Well, now you know what, they might be, they might have been a 4 handicap and now they're playing at a 20 handicap, and getting over that ego of, okay, I'm not where I once was, but hang on, this is what I have now. So I try and change the mindset of, hang on, golf is your social aspect of your life now. Maybe it's not about score anymore, but maybe it's a purpose to get out of the house and go out with your friends. And if it's riding in a golf cart for 18 holes and you hit 6 shots because you just had a stroke and you don't have any physical capabilities of swinging a golf club to hit it 30 yards, you're out there having fun, drinking some beers, laughing with your friends for 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever. Use golf as an excuse to get you out of the house and a purpose, and it's a cool message.
So that's kind of your role, Todd, with Paragolf Canada, is you're not just working with players to get them registered, but also working with like the mental aspect of the game. And
absolutely. So I'm not into the competitive side of things. Golf Canada is doing a great job with that. Our provincial governing bodies, they're doing great stuff with that. To me, I want to give people the opportunity to come out and play and let them know that they're not alone. These associations, they're doing great stuff. And I want to help people try and get to that side.
So I want to move into in the next little while here. Hopefully we have this up before. I'm just trying to check the date here. I think we will, but the Toronto Golf Show, so Canada's largest golf show, and you're going to be there on behalf of Golf Town, which is the
presenting sponsor,
the presenting sponsor this year, which is great. So we had Gotham on a couple weeks ago on the pod, and he was mentioning they have like 100,000 square feet or something, which is going to be great.
Huge.
So come by, check it out, hit some golf balls and stuff. Come say hello. Todd's going to be there as well. Todd's going to be auctioning stuff off and probably sitting on your lap or something too, maybe. So
getting you up that bid.
yeah, exactly, right? So generating every dollar that he can. But can you kind of explain, Todd, how you got like into that space, into we can talk about some of the celebrity golf entertaining
Yeah.
and stuff, but into like the world with Golf Town and into like the world of just like presenting.
God, I've been presenting for a lot of years. So back in '99, I got headhunted by a gentleman by the name of Jim McLean, very famous instructor that was working out of Doral down in Miami. He wanted to open up a golf school in Toronto, so I got headhunted by him. And that's where I kind of really grinded it out with the teaching. You know, back in the day, there was not a lot out there for teaching how to teach, and I was reading everything I can and mentoring from people and trying to, sifting the good stuff and making it kind of my own to put the best of the best together. Where I go down to the McLean School and I, had to learn how to teach again, because it was kind of, you had to learn his philosophy, which was a phenomenal philosophy. But it gave me then the opportunity of presenting and being out there. So now getting on a stage in front of, Toronto Golf Show, hopefully we're going to have a couple hundred people there watching, and I'll be teaching the science of trick shots.
Okay.
So, I've won Trick Shot of the Year on the Golf Channel, traveled all over the world doing that. So, there's no trickery involved in trick shots. It's just core good golf fundamentals, but maybe a little bit different. So that's what I'm going to be working on down in the Toronto show is, who knows, I might be teaching the next Trick Shot of the Year individual with one of my shots.
Do you have like a go-to? Like, that's pretty cool. Do you have a go-to trick shot? Do you have like, I've seen a couple where I think PK Subban was in one of the videos.
PK, God,
yeah.
I've had so many people laying on the ground. I hit balls off of them, and I can't believe they trust me to do it. Like, they're PK meeting me for the first time, and I'm laying down and hitting a ball off of his, lower extremities, and that's kind of the go-to shot. That's the one that won me Trick Shot of the Year on the Golf Channel. It's probably one of the easiest shots that I hit, surprisingly so. But I love the reaction. It's the build up to it. It's the story. It's just everything about that shot is pretty cool.
Where do you get I don't want to say where do you get off, but where do you get the confidence to be able to do this? And
Drunk at a cottage, man. That's how it all started.
I guess so. Just like being able to have that confidence to like repeat this type of thing. Because I remember watching it when we were talking, going through, and I know PK just from a world that just from the hockey space, really, and not well or anything, but I've gone into a room and his personality tells me that he would not be afraid to be the guy to get on the ground and say, yeah, go ahead, Todd. Let's do this.
You know what? It was awesome, and the guy that won me Trick Shot of the Year was Tyler Seguin.
Okay.
Tyler Seguin, he posted it on his Instagram, and within 12 hours, his agent called me the next day. I was driving to another golf tournament. And his agent or his PR person called me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm heading to an event." She goes, "You need to pull over." So I pulled over, and she goes, "Tyler posted the video on Instagram, and it's gone viral. It was at like 1.5 million views in 12 hours." And she goes, "TMZ's on the phone. They want an interview. Can I give them your contact information?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" Right? And it was kind of that shot right there that, I've been hitting that shot for a lot of years, but when Sags put it on his Instagram, it just blew up. Like, I mean, I had people that were in the Caribbean, and they're like, "Hey, we just saw you on SportsCenter," and it just took a life of its own. And from there, I've had the privilege of being around a lot of people. I was just in Bermuda with a huge event with the likes of like Bo Jackson and Terrell Owens and Anthony Anderson and, some crazy. Then from there, I flew right to Vegas with, Jeremy Roenick, Kurt Busch.
Todd, when you're like kind of putting on these events, or you're doing like a speaking engagement, and then you end up laying somebody on the ground or whatever it is, is there a common like theme or a correlation with like a lot of the questions that you're getting with people who are maybe like in the golf space and they want to know like kind of how you got into it, or like is there a question that you receive often?
You know what? It's just why. Really, it's just why. Yeah. And it's like at the end of the day. So last year I helped raise almost $3.9 million for charity.
Amazing.
And that's the answer right there. Like I literally travel around the world having fun, almost like the Harlem Globetrotters of golf, but raising a ton of money for charity. And that's the cool thing about it is you know what, I'm having fun. Yeah, we're laughing, we're joking. Some of the shots are risque, but at the end of the day, we're doing it for a purpose.
Well, and a good friend of ours, Mack Boucher, he's been on the pod a couple times. I'm sure you've seen Mack stuff, and like, just genuinely one of the nicest, kindest people in the golf world. And a lot of the things that he's doing now are celebrity events where he can go and they're raising money and they're, trying to give back to charity and stuff like that. And then you see somebody like on Instagram making fun of his pants or something. You're just like, where did this come from? Like, why? But like, that's kind of, I think, one of the things that you'll always have some of that stuff.
Oh
but
my God, absolutely. They're crazy. I just posted something on Instagram about my face with skin cancer, and somebody's like, shouldn't you know better to wear sunscreen? I'm like, so you can't answer those people, it's just whatever, right?
There's always
the haters,
world,
right?
But there's always going to be that with social media, but there's so many, like, I guess what I'm trying to say, there's so many good points to connecting with all these different people and whatnot. And you and I have said the same thing. Like, we're 170 something episodes into this, and it's been so good to just meet and connect with people. And we were just talking, you told me you asked about somebody and you gave me a name of somebody, and it's kind of people that we want to connect with, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I've talked to that person before, and it's just like
small world, man. That golf industry is a small world,
but there's just so many good things happening with it. So it's really, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. But so you're going to the Toronto Golf Show, and then you're also going to the PGA Show.
Yeah, heading to the PGA Show, which is next week. I don't know when it's going to air, but anyways, I'm heading down January 27th, I think, 24th to the 27th. I'm going to be down there for. So it's going to be cool. It's the biggest show in the world, and it starts off with a demo day, which is at Orange County National, which is literally a 360-degree driving range, and there's vendors everywhere. And then the Orlando Convention Center is just consumed with golf, consumed with products, consumed with knowledge sessions, breakout sessions. We have a Canada Golf Night there where we all kind of get together from Canada. We have like a country and western concert with Jake Owens playing down there. So any of the country people. So it's kind of cool. You get to see people that you kind of grew up watching. I know Annika Sorenstam's going to be down there. Hank Haney's going to be there. Probably Bo Jackson. He's with Tour Edge now. So you never know who you're going to run into down there. It's kind of cool.
Are you, like, when you're working with all these different celebrities at all these engagements, have you been, it's probably worn off by now, but are you ever starstruck? Is there ever a moment where?
Well, the coolest thing happened. So I'm down in Bermuda last year, and literally every day I'm getting picked up. We're staying at the same resort, getting picked up, going to the golf course back to the resort to dinner back with Joe Carter and his wife.
That's so cool.
This is the guy that hit the home run that won the World Series for, like, I was at, however old I was, it's Joe Carter. But then the next cool thing, it's our day off in Bermuda. We have a chance to go golfing, the spa, or deep sea fishing. I'm going to pick deep sea fishing. I'm in Bermuda. I don't have, how many chances do you have to go deep sea fishing, right? So I get to the boat. Bo Jackson, Warren Sapp, Santonio Holmes, I caught the Super Bowl catch for the Steelers MVP, and a good friend of mine named Mike Vanderjagt, probably one of the best kickers in NFL history. We're on the boat together, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm hanging out for the whole day with these friggin' athletes, and we're fishing together. And even Vandy and I are going, that's Bo Jackson. Right? Like, probably one of the purest athletes to ever play the game. He played NFL football at a very, very high level as a hobby. Right? So, yeah, you know what? Like, those are situations, when you're having, when you meet Dr. J, Julius Erving, a legend in basketball, it was kind of weird. I did a Super Bowl event back in, I think, 2014 or 15 in New Orleans. And all these big guys are coming up, and I'm hitting balls off of them and doing all this crazy stuff. And I grew up, I watched football, but I never was, I never watched it religiously. Hockey was my sport, Canadian guy, right? And all of a sudden, after the tournament, dinner is coming out, and all of these Hall of Fame gold jackets are being worn by these guys. And I'm like, holy shit, like, this is a real thing right here. That's this person and this person and this person. And I had no idea, but if I were to do an NHL event, old school, Johnny Bauer, Mr. Bauer and I, is Mr. Bauer to me. Mr. Bauer and I did a lot of events together. You know, you get the likes of Rick Vive's a great friend of mine. You know, Bernie Nichols, Gary Lehman. You know, all these guys are good friends now because I've done so many events together. But you know, getting into the NFL stuff, I really didn't know a lot of guys, but you know, all of them were Hall of Famers, and I'm like, damn, I wish I would have known at the time. Right?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be invited to an event at Copetown Woods last year by Barry, who's done one of the live pods with us.
Yeah,
on
Barry's a great
December
guy.
16th,
Great guy.
We did a pod on his patio on
Yeah,
December 16th.
yeah, I saw
which
that.
is
I saw that,
awesome.
yeah.
So, and he invited me to the Mike Weir event last year, and I was like nervous.
Yeah.
It's Mike Weir.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, and I had just made a hole-in-one, and
Oh, really?
yeah.
How
so
good is that?
It was awesome. It was awesome. Like, it was. I've told the story too many times that people don't.
No, I got a question because I haven't heard. How much money did that cost you at the end of the night? Did they take care of you? Or?
I went back in. There was one other guy in our group, and I went back in. There was like nobody in the clubhouse, so we just grabbed a quick drink, and it wasn't too bad. I was lucky, but you know, I was lucky enough to meet Mike Weir, and you realize like after he's just like a regular guy, a really nice guy, down to earth, and you know, it's just like an absolute blast, right? But my hole-in-one story is actually pretty cool. I've told it so many times, but I had my son with me, so I was pushing him in the stroller. So
Come on.
he would have been 6 months, 5-6 months,
Right.
and I'm just like a degenerate out on paternal leave. I got the stroller with the clubs in the bottom. I'm that guy, and yeah. So I was luckily enough. I was in a group with one of the members there, and just kind of like walked up, and we're at Port Hope number 6, which is, if you've played there, it's one of the most beautiful par 3s, heading right out into Lake Ontario. So we couldn't see the ball bury, but I knew I didn't have enough club to be long. So as soon as I walked up, it was right on line. I knew it was in, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, I got photos with like my little guy with me. He's like this big. It was a really cool memory.
That's awesome.
One that I'll never be able to ever. Like that was the absolute peak of my golf game, and it's been downhill ever since. But that's golf. It'll get back up there one day.
You set the bar high right there, buddy.
I definitely did. But you know, kind of going back to Mike Weir, it was a really cool thing to kind of go, and I had told him that story. I was kind of sharing it with him, and he was like amazed. He was like, "That's unbelievable," and was like, "No way." And he was asking me a couple things. He said, "What ball did you hit? You kept the ball, right?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I did." And then I had one with me, and he's like, "Oh, let me sign it." And he grabbed it, gave me a signature and stuff.
That's cool.
And not on the hole-in-one ball, which would actually be pretty cool, I think. But I didn't have that one with me. That was like instantly in the bag.
Yep.
I remember talking to Bryce, who is our co-host here, and he said that he had left his in his bag for like a few weeks, and I just thought, not a chance. Like, there's no way. I'd be so nervous I'd lose that ball or something. But another cool one, because I know you remember at Oshawa, or you've been over to Oshawa quite a bit, Bryce's younger brother in Club C's last year made a hole-in-one on 17. Did you hear about this?
No, 17.
He was a young guy who made a hole-in-one on 17.
Par 4.
Yeah, and I said to him, I was like, Blake, what were you doing? Like, first of all, what were you doing hitting driver in club champions, like in the club championship? And he said, I didn't. I hit a 5-wood.
Oh, my God.
And he flew it, hit the top of the flag. There's video of it. The group in front of him was there, hit the top of the flag, and just rattled it and went straight down and in the cup.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's also like a +4 or something. Yeah. He's an incredible golfer. And I think he shot -16 or something over 3 days, there, which was awesome.
Oh,
so
my God.
Didn't have his stuff this year, so Blake's got some work to do. But the hole-in-one is kind of like, it's cool. Have you had one?
I've hit the stick a whole bunch of times, but nothing has dropped in yet. I haven't jugged one yet.
I would imagine you've had some pretty cool shots. Like in your
I've
life.
hit some really cool shots,
Yeah.
really cool scenery. Been to some phenomenal golf courses, but yet to jug one.
Okay. Hopefully, because we've had at least 3 or 4 occasions where somebody's come back and said, I made it.
So this is the podcast then. This is the podcast that's going to rub the luck, right?
We talked about, like, because we had it with the first one that comes to mind is Zach Viminit. So he's playing PGA Tour LA right now, or I think he's playing PGA Tour LA right now, and he didn't have one, and he made one when somebody said to him, like, it was the day after, a couple days after we did our pod, and they said, I'll give you $100 if you make a hole. When he went up there and just made one, which was awesome. So good for him. But this is the pod that kind of, like, we speak them into existence, or we try. But
that's good.
So coming up for you, Todd, what are some of the things that you got going on? We're at the start, obviously, of 2024,
Yep.
the 2024 golf season. What are some of the things that you're kind of working on, or some of the things that you have happening right now?
You know, the big thing is right now I'm really focused on the skin cancer awareness.
Right.
You know, the golf industry, the numbers are staggering. 7% of the general public will get some form of skin cancer in their lifetime. 27% of golfers will get it. Really nice number for golf. 27% means nothing. But when you go 1 person out of every foursome will be diagnosed with skin cancer, that's when the golf industry kind of goes, oh, okay, this is serious.
Yeah.
So, but not a lot of people know those numbers. Hopefully I can use, you know, this mug right now, scarred up and everything, as kind of like the cigarette pack, the warning signs, the warning for sun protection. You know, it's not the golf industry's responsibility, but I think the golf industry, you know, could raise a little bit more awareness about it.
Like I said, it's something that's sort of like an afterthought. When we started off the pod, I was saying, and we're lucky with our partners at Manscaped to we work with the Testicular Cancer Society as well. So, you know, it's something that obviously that's mainly a male dominant thing, but it's something that when we get to the golf course, we like pull up, our buddies are there, and we're out the window talking about what are we playing for, what game are we playing for, and all this stuff, and we just grab our clubs and go straight to the tee. So it's something where like the awareness will bring almost like just create like a pattern or something, right? But there's a lot of courses, like say you're at a private course where you go up and you pick up your cart or whatever it is, and maybe there's something that clubs can do to kind of work that into the regular rotation.
You know what, even if
bit,
it's
right?
just, you know, a campaign, just to let people know, you know, it's up to the individual. You know, the same thing, you know, I knew about it, but I didn't take it seriously. You know, we're all invincible in our own mind, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting this, and I went public with it. It was either, you know, it's my face, it's my identity, and I didn't know what I was going to look like afterwards. So I was like, okay, either I go public with it or I sit in my basement for 8 weeks while this all heals. And it was ugly at first. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go public with it. Hopefully give me the opportunity not to go down that dark spot, but also to raise awareness. And within the first 3 weeks, I've had 20 pros reach out to me, over 20, saying, you made me go to the dermatologist.
Yeah.
And over half of them had some form of skin cancer, but they were prolonging it same way I was doing. And, you know, when you saw everything bandaged up and you saw the dry blood and everything, and I didn't hide it. It really but the support was absolutely incredible.
So what are some things, Todd, that you can recommend to golfers, maybe that you've heard or done your own research with or heard from your surgeons? What are the recommendations like when we're kind of getting to the course, or just kind of to be more prepared?
Obviously, you know, sunscreen, a hat, maybe not even a ball cap, because, you know, the tops of the ears are exposed, the back of the neck. You know, I'm wearing bucket hats now. Not the coolest look.
I love the bucket.
But
I love the bucket hat.
But I'm wearing the bucket hats now. You know, I'm covering up a little bit more. I've got the SPF sleeves. Yeah. When I'm wearing the short sleeve golf shirts, so I'm going to be covering up a little bit more when I'm out on the golf course. When I'm doing my trick shots and stuff, I'm bringing a tent with me just to get out of that sun as much as I can.
Well, and just with that, like you said, like you never know where your trick shots will go. You have a million views hitting a ball off Tyler Sagan's like midsection in a couple hours or 12 hours or whatever it is. So if there's like a tent or you're kind of dressed differently, it'll just bring awareness. There'll be more questions, right? Which is never a negative thing, right? So,
and I don't mind answering them. You know, to me, if I can help one and that's all it is. If I can help one, that's why I went public. If I can help one person, you know, it's something good coming out of this.
Well, and like I said, we've all heard it so many times. Every single person listening to this pod has been touched by cancer in some way, whether it be a friend or family member or themselves, right? So it's something that, you know, if you're
the great thing about it, it's the most preventable form of cancer. So out of all cancers combined, there's more cases of skin cancer than all other cancers combined, but it's the most preventable. So, you know,
definitely something that we can do about it for sure.
Absolutely.
Todd, before we let you go, so we got the Golf Town show coming up. You mentioned that you're doing 6 different speaking engagements there. So what is the plan for you that weekend? So that'll be February 2nd through 4th. We just had Gotham on, like I had mentioned a couple weeks ago. Each day there's different things going on. There's going to be vendors there. I think there's like over 10 or 15 vendors that we've had on the podcast in the past. So definitely check out the vendor list. We did a giveaway a couple tickets, which was great. But what's your weekend looking like there?
You know what? My weekend, I want to meet as many people as I can. I want to say hi to as many people as I can. I'm going to be, giving away, listen to this, $49.99 introductory 1-hour golf lessons.
Love that.
$49 for a golf lesson. Like,
that's sweet.
You can't beat that.
You cannot.
Right? So I'm going to be giving a lot of those away. And to me, it's just being immersed in the golf community.
Right.
That to me is the most important, not only with the industry, the manufacturers, the guys that are, grinding it out with the products that you're like, hey man, that's cool. We were talking about that of the, the individual, but just being immersed with it's such a great community. It's such a great vibe. It's entertainment. Golf is entertainment. You can't really screw it up. Everybody goes to the Toronto Golf Show to have a good time.
Yeah. And like you said, when we were talking about the adaptive world, it's kind of, trying to not just for the adaptive space, but golf's a social game for a lot of us listening to this podcast. It's a social space for us. So, Bryce had mentioned it in our pod, go there, ask questions. A lot of the OEMs that might be there, or even just some of the small brands, like I was talking with, like Left Behind, and they got a booth. And you were saying, I think Roll Ready has one, right? And so it's kind of just like those brands too. That's why we love having them on the pod, because we love hearing their stories. So you should go and do the same. Kind of chat with them, learn about their products, learn about why they got involved with it, why they're in the golf space.
There's some really cool stories out there. Like you were just talking about Roll Ready. Like I'm going to Orlando. We're driving down to Orlando together, and he's got a booth, and he's a small little guy from Toronto. That's going to be at the Orlando Golf Show. It's going to be selling his product at the Toronto Golf Show, and it's this guy's found a passion, something that it's needed in the game. It's a little product that you can pop your ball into and clean it off, and those are the feel good stories, right?
Well, like I've become pretty good friends with the guys from Left Behind, and there's obviously a bunch of other brands that are going to be there as well. And it's kind of cool that they started it up, passion project sort of thing through COVID. It's all for lefties like myself and
like myself too.
Yeah.
There you go.
But not just lefties. Like you can get hats and stuff and support the brand as well. But kind of just being there in the same world with TaylorMade and Cobra and Ping and Mizuno and all the other brands that are going to be there. Dozens and dozens of OEMs and kind of for them to connect with those in the space and same thing with you. Just you might meet somebody who's kind of watching on the podcast or whatever it is, or seen you hit a ball off Tyler Sagan. I keep saying Tyler, but Tiger.
You can say Tiger all you want, man.
But it's like it's just kind of cool. The golf space is really fun. We're really lucky to kind of all be connected in this little world, and it's something that's forever growing. Like right now, it's sort of peaking. But have you ever met Tiger?
I've not. I've been around him.
Okay.
But haven't been introduced. But Tiger got a little bit of a bad knock. Even the time that I saw him, he's being pulled in a million directions.
Right.
For him to sit and focus and sign every autograph and talk to every person, like, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
So like, we were in the same room. But you just kind of, that's Tiger. You just kind of let Tiger be Tiger, right? Kind of thing. And there's a time and a place to, that's why, same thing that you felt with Mike. There's a time and a place to have a conversation. I'm blessed with how many people that I know, and I don't really talk about sports with them unless they bring it up.
Right.
It's not the. They want to be more talking about golf than their basketball or football. So it's kind of cool. Like the tables are turned. So it's pretty cool.
That's what we found too. I think we lost the light there, Todd. But that's what we found. It's really fun to kind of connect with golfers. Or I remember we were having a conversation with Monica Living, who's the right now the reigning female world long drive champion. And like at one point we got talking about like the release of the wolves into Colorado.
Right.
And it's just like the
Yeah.
most random things.
Yep.
And like, you know, they're human beings. She's a human being, and they're human beings as well. And they're kind of more interested in like, that's why I had asked you what was maybe some of the common questions that you get. Like they're more interested in like, what is it that made you kind of get into this, or what makes you hit trick shots and that kind of thing that, you know, they're amazed by. Like you're talking to Bo Jackson, debatably one of the best athletes of all time, and he's interested in what you're doing.
Exactly.
Like,
It's kind of cool. Like I've got to
Yeah.
pinch myself every time, because here are these guys that I admired. I appreciated their talents. And then the tables are turned because they want to be able to hit what I hit.
Yeah.
They want to hit the shots that I hit, and they can't. And it's kind of cool because their athletic egotism kicks in, and they're like, they get mad at themselves because they can't hit a ball like the way that I do out of, 3 feet high or out of the air and stuff like that. And so the tables are turned, and I find the athletes actually appreciate what I do a little bit more than
For sure.
just the average golfer, because they know, what it took me to get to where I'm at now.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Todd, I don't want to take you too much here today. We got a wooden bench in the way, or I might lay down on this thing and ask you to hit a shot on me on the pod. But maybe next weekend, maybe we'll see something at the golf show. Will you be doing a bit of a display there as well?
Well, you know what? I'm actually, if you're at the Toronto Golf Show, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull you up on stage, and I'm gonna rip one off of you somewhere, whether it's out of the mouth, whether it's wherever you want. But maybe we'll do one. Maybe we'll get the hat off and we'll hit one out of your mouth. How about that?
I got a lot of hair right now, so maybe we'll get some gel in there and tee it up. Or
There
something.
you go.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll build
but
a
you're
little
definitely
tee or
going to have a ball hit off you.
Okay, I'm up for it.
There you go.
Yeah, we would definitely do it for sure. It's, anything for the pod, right?
The cool
Anything
thing
for the-
about it is
Yeah.
you have now 2 weeks to be thinking about this.
Yeah.
Going, what the hell did I get myself into?
How much danger am I in right now? But
And how do I get out of this?
no, we'll be there.
Love it. Okay, well, you're on, man.
I'll be yeah. If you see me walking by,
I'm pulling you.
I'm a gamer. I'll be up there. We'll have a look. We'll do it. But Todd, if anybody wants to, so again, we're at Uptown Golf in Oshawa, which is amazing. So if you haven't checked out the facility, it's linked in the show notes below. So scroll down if you're listening to it in the car when you stop. Scroll down. Click Uptown Golf. You can go down and book. We've posted some stuff in the past. You can see this guy here as you walk in the door, which is pretty awesome. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, maybe come by, hit some golf balls with you, get a lesson, how can they do that?
You know what? The easiest thing, it's toddkeirsteadgolf.com.
Okay.
The last name's a little bit tricky, but it's, if you go toddkeirsteadgolf.com, it has everything there from, the golf entertainment, the trick shots, to how to book a lesson. And you know what? I'll tell you what. Anybody that listens that it's from the podcast, I'll give them the $49.99 deal for a 1-hour introductory golf lesson.
Love that.
How about
and
that for you?
If you're in the area, you can come right down here to Uptown, or you're at a couple other spots.
Yeah, come on by.
locally, too.
Just give me a call. We'll find out
Yeah.
what the closest location is to you. As long as I'm not driving an hour and a half to go do a 1-hour golf lesson, we're good.
Love that.
But yeah, $49, man.
We'll put that. We'll put the website in the show notes below. Todd's Instagram handle in the show notes below. We can probably drop like Paragolf and a couple of other things in there as well too. If you're interested in that, you want to kind of check out some of those.
You know what?
things
If you
too.
know somebody, actually, if you know somebody that is in an adaptive situation, that love the game, that has given up the game due to whatever, let them give me a call, and I'll either help them through it or introduce them to somebody that's in the same situation that they can say, yeah, you know what? It's basically changing the mindset from I can't to I can. And that's what I'm all about.
I love that. And then again, we talked about the. Hopefully you don't mind, but we talked about skin cancer and different types of cancer and stuff. So again, if you can support the Testicular Cancer Society, you can do that through Manscaped. Or if you have any questions,
Yeah. Oh my
Todd's
God,
our
feel
biggest
free.
advocate right here. So.
And if you see me at the Toronto show, come on up and say hi. I would love to see you. Love to shake your hand. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Todd, I really appreciate you doing this, man.
Oh my God, a pleasure.